My mother demands I give both my kidneys to my golden child brother. My older brother Ethan was the golden child. Everyone in my family knew it, and nobody ever pretended otherwise. If Ethan made a mistake, my mom always found an excuse. If I made the same mistake, I got a lecture about responsibility. It had been that way for as long as I could remember. When he dropped out of college, my parents paid for him to try again. When I worked nights to graduate without debt, they barely mentioned it. I stopped expecting fairness years ago because every comparison ended the same way. Ethan was always given another chance, while I was expected to figure things out on my own. Then Mom called one Tuesday afternoon. Ethan's in the hospital. I drove straight there. He looked exhausted. The doctor explained that his kidneys were failing. He would need a transplant, but they were still testing relatives to see if anyone was a match. The doctor stayed professional and never assumed anyone would volunteer. He simply explained the process and answered my questions before leaving the room. A week later, the transplant coordinator called me. "You are an excellent match." I thanked her and asked for time to think. She explained everything carefully, including the risks, recovery time, and the fact that donating had to be completely voluntary. I appreciated that. Unfortunately, my family had a completely different opinion. Before I even got home, Mom was waiting in my driveway. "So when's the surgery?" "I haven't decided." Her smile disappeared. "What do you mean you haven't decided? It's major surgery. It's your brother." "I know. You have two kidneys." I looked at her. "This isn't like lending someone money." She folded her arms. "You only need one." Over the next several days, the pressure got worse. Dad reminded me about family loyalty. My aunt called me selfish before I had even made a decision. Two cousins texted me that I should do the right thing. Even Ethan texted me, "Just get it over with." Not "thank you." Not "I understand." Just another expectation. That Sunday, Mom invited everyone over for dinner. Nobody talked about anything except my kidney. "I already read all the medical information," I said. "Then you know it's safe," Mom answered. "There are still risks." She shook her head. "If you loved your brother, this wouldn't even be a conversation." I looked around the table. Nobody defended me. Nobody even looked uncomfortable. They all expected me to say yes. Finally, I stood up. "Has anyone asked what happens if I have health problems later?" Silence. "Has anyone asked how I feel?" More silence. Mom sighed dramatically. "If you were the one in that hospital bed, Ethan wouldn't hesitate." I couldn't help laughing. When I lost my job 3 years ago, Ethan told me to stop being lazy. Nobody answered. When my car broke down, he refused to give me a ride because he didn't want to wake up early. Dad looked down at his plate. "This is different." "No," I said quietly. "It's exactly the same." I left before dessert. Over the next month, I met with doctors several times. Nobody pressured me. They simply wanted to know whether my choice was truly mine. Every appointment ended the same way. They reminded me that saying yes was my decision, and saying no was also my decision. For the first time since all of this started, I felt like someone actually respected my answer before I had even given it. After thinking about it for weeks, I decided not to donate. Not because I wanted Ethan to suffer, because I realized every conversation had been about what my family wanted from me, never about whether I was willing to give it. The transplant team respected my decision immediately. My family didn't. Mom showed up at my apartment screaming, "You are letting your brother die. I'm making a decision about my own body. You don't deserve two kidneys." I stayed calm. Then she shouted something that made my neighbors stop and stare. "If that's what it takes, you should give him both." The words hung in the air. Even Dad looked shocked. Mom immediately tried to backtrack. "That's not what I meant. It is exactly what you said." She got into her car and drove away. A few days later, my cousin called. "You need to hear something." He had recorded a family gathering where Mom spent 20 minutes telling everyone how heartless I was. Then another relative interrupted. "Didn't you tell him to give Ethan both kidneys?" Mom laughed nervously. "I wasn't serious." "You sounded serious." I never argued with anyone after that. I simply forwarded the recording to every relative who had criticized me. Within a day, the phone stopped ringing. Nobody called me selfish anymore. Months later, Ethan received a kidney from a deceased donor. His surgery was successful. I was relieved for him, but nothing changed between us. No apology came from my parents. No one admitted they had crossed the line. That Thanksgiving, Mom sent a group text inviting everyone over. No apology, no acknowledgement, just a dinner invitation, as if nothing had happened. I typed 2 words, "Can't make it." Then I muted the conversation. For years, my family believed I existed to solve Ethan's problems. That message was the first time they finally understood.